welcome to Under the Table. This is a post-game talk show where a bunch of nobodies get around. Oh no, that's Drinks and Discussions. This is well, we're still nobodies, but we're nobodies from a specific show called King's Crossing, where this is the cast of King's Crossing come together around a round table, an open table, and discuss all the behind the scenes of the campaign so far. If you guys don't know, King's Crossing is an ongoing campaign. Just hit episode 31 of this series. Featuring two different parties going through. We have a representative from one party. Adaece is the voice actor and character portrayal of Adarag, our halfling smuggler. And then Mr. Pickles is here representing the other party. He is the voice actor behind the character Grunkle, a ogre berserker from the Rockhard Empire. We have you guys here together. We're going to... I've got a new format for this. If you guys don't know, we discussed coming up with a new format, so we didn't sit here and do a full recap the entire time. What I'm curious right off the bat is, at your guys' current standings, both your guys' current character standings, what is your character thinking, feeling, big moment, kind of... And I don't just mean like... mad or something. I just mean like, you know, how from the character beginning to where you're at now, how are you feeling? So either one of you guys that wants to go first.
Yeah, sure. Mind if I hit this off, Pickles?
Go for it.
All right. Well, I think Adarag started off as kind of a very kind of green in the smuggling game, which makes sense. He's young. He still has time to learn. But now he has kind of grown into this sort of very inquisitive. He's a little bit of Nimwort has rubbed off on him. Nimwort is my campaign buddy, the gnomish engineer that is in my party. And so he's
played by Dr. Nuts.
Played by Dr. Nuts.
Yeah.
And he's starting to rub off on Adarag as far as his like general inquisitiveness, maybe a little bit of his like thought process, critical thinking skills are kind of rubbing off. And Adarag is currently really excited about getting to meet, having met his teacher, Cyrus, who's going to be the next step in Adarag's evolution of learning process going along the road.
Yeah, and you actually heard, I mean, Adarag didn't, but Nimwort did. He asked, what is Cyrus teaching you? And he said he's just, what's the word? Learned. He's making you a learned man. So this would be, you know, it may be, you know, along the lines of basically an education, an actual education is what you're supposedly getting. So yeah, it's a little breakdown of Adarag and where he's come from and where he's gotten to. What about for Grunkle here?
I think I misunderstood the question. I thought you were asking about the current vibes of the character, like what they're feeling in the moment.
No, that's what I was trying to correct. I was like, I don't want just because I know where Grunkle's at right now, and I know your response is going to be like I want more. Like, how do you feel your character has come along throughout the campaign? Grunkle's had some big events recently.
Yeah, Grunkle, I intentionally made as an ogre berserker that is actually a good hero adventurer, because I thought that'd be really funny, and the voice is silly to do. But in order to make that work, you have to make some concessions on how you play that character. I think I've mentioned this in another episode at least. I mean, you can't be an ogre and not be a man-eater. Like, that's what the idea of an ogre is, a giant that eats people. So I've had to make Grunkle a little bit more cowardly and more hesitant, things that you would not want in a berserker army. Like, he'll charge at enemies, but if they're too big, he will back off, even in a berserker rage.
We saw this recently.
If he thinks that somebody is actually a person, he will try and use language first, something you do not want from an ogre berserker. So
that gives
tried
some
to play...
idea of why you keep saying you're a bad berserker.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm going for there, is that trying to be good. And it's hard because you give a lot of characters that are kind of gray areas, where it's like, you kill them, and then you find out they had a family. It's like, that sucks for them.
sucks to suck. So yeah, so that kind of gives an idea of the two characters here. Obviously, there are more characters in the series, but they can't show up or didn't show up, so they don't get to share their side. If you guys want to hear their side, go into the Discord and tell them to show up to Under the Tables. As for you guys, I want to discuss notable encounters and battles. So, any notable events that have affected not only just you, but you guys are representatives of your parties. So any notable events, and we'll keep it recent because we've done Under the Tables on past events. So since the last Under the Table, we'll say, I believe there's been 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah,
I feel like, I don't know, somehow I need to go through and look because somehow my timing got off. Technically you guys are supposed, Adaece's group is supposed to be ahead in time than Pickles' group. So that way Adaece's group plays on Tuesday, then Pickles' group plays on Monday, and they're at the same time frame by the time Under the Table comes. However, Pickles' group is currently ahead of their... So Pickles' group just went through episode 31. That has happened. Whatever Adaece's group is at that time has not happened yet. So we don't know where they're... Shut up. We don't know where they're at yet.
Yeah, we need that other group though. I can't just sit here recapping. Sorry.
Yeah, it's it was like they asked me like, "What is their group doing right now?" And I was like, "Actually, I have no idea because it hasn't happened yet." So,
but thank you.
No problem.
Oh,
the can I say the lanterns were nice? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. So anyways, what I was saying is, let's discuss notable events that have affected either party. So you guys can bounce back and forth. You guys can each say one. You can say 3. You say 3. I don't know. However you guys want to do it.
Sure. So one notable one that, as we just mentioned, is that our group were able to get help from the Lost Sons in creating lanterns for the town and setting them up around certain specific points of interest that we wanted to protect with these warding moonlit moss that we found, or well, that Nimwort found.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adarag used his diplomatic
Fun fact,
skills.
not the only one who found it, and that's going to come into play. But continue.
Yeah. And he used his Adarag was able to use his diplomatic skills to get the Lost Sons on board with helping with this project, and they were hired on for a specific job, and Adarag was all too pleased to make the deal.
Mm-hmm. Adarag, real quick. Yep. Mm-hmm. Deal. Yeah, so Lost Sons, we recently talked about all the different factions. I was kind of talking about it in Discord, and I think a little bit with Pickles. All the different factions that have been counted. There was the Lost Sons, which have finally been actually talked to for the first time, I think, ever.
I trained with them.
Yeah.
They bullied me.
Right, but they haven't been engaged and interacted with. They actually started meeting all of them and getting to know them and hearing their story and where they're from and what they're up to. So Lost Sons, the miners were approached and then
well,
ghosted?
I made friends with 2 of them.
You didn't. You bought a drink for 2 of them.
Best friends.
Yeah, yeah. I bought a drink for 2 of them. After one of them watched you deface their dead person.
Yep.
Yeah. Adarag was caught. What would you call that? Abolish or
Defacing?
Yeah, you were
But tink.
Removing a dead body's face.
Yeah, you were fucking with a dead body, and you were seen. You were spotted.
A corpse.
Yeah, defiling a corpse. Yeah,
I was trying to brush off the face because I thought it was dirt or grime on there to see if I could identify it.
That was their face. I just wiped the face off. It was
well, that's a different spin on the same story.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, so the Lost Sons, there was the miners, which were approached and then ghosted, kind of. Which I thought was interesting. Granted, the player did it, had their reasons. They argued their point, which does make sense. I, as a DM, have a wider picture and I know what the faction's thinking and doing, so from their perspective, they're just like, hey, can I get your guys' help to fix the town? And they're like, as far as we know, you don't give a fuck about this town, but sure, here's some tools and supplies. For, go fix the town. And then he didn't. And they're like, so we were right. So we have Lost Sons, we have the Miners Guild, we have the blue things from Underground, which I've started calling the Dwellers. So there's the Dwellers race.
Good name.
Which have been interacted with twice now, once from each party, having very different experiences. There is the blue race that is connected. I know 2 different blue races. It was confusing, but there's the blue race that have been called trolls by the common folk. They've been interacted with once and immediately murdered.
There's more nuance to that. There is.
Oh. So that might be a point of under the table for me. So you weren't saying that like half their body was a dwarf and half their body was a blue something or another. You were saying like it was a mixed sort of like race thing.
It was a blend. No, it's very much half and half, but it's not like specifically exactly half. It's like if you took a dwarf or you took one of those creatures and turned it into a dwarf, like it was evolving or something, and it died halfway through evolving. Does that make sense?
Okay.
For anyone, he's referencing the body they found stashed behind Hobbs Lodge that Grunkle's group left there with no head attached.
I'm not. I wouldn't leave the body behind. I think just because that felt weird. But his dwarven Satorvi wanted me to take it, so.
I don't even think I mentioned it's only the torso, isn't it? There's no legs because the legs were still trapped in the mud. You guys ripped it out. Ripped it in half.
Yeah, Grunkle's strong.
Yeah, you guys ripped it in half and then also cut off its head.
Well, that was the dwarven thing. Grunkle felt a little weird about
that. I forgot all about that. Yeah. So they found the body.
Yeah, I sent some murder hobos.
And actually, I should add that I was probably on the main path there.
He was dead when they found him.
People were going off to hear strange noises, and I was like, Grunkle, stay on path. And then they called for Grunkle to come and do backup.
Yeah. No, that was on the main path. It was the guy who was burning the corpses so that they didn't get taken by the lights.
Right. No, you're right.
That was off the path.
Right.
Okay, so anyways, multiple factions. The Kobolds, another faction that has been interacted with once and I think immediately attacked again. I think Grunkle tried to like Ryan. Well, they were on top of a dead rhino, and then Grunkle tripped and headbutted them.
I charged to attack, and I think I fumbled, and I tripped and like slid and fell into the dead rhino.
Yeah,
I actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then they all started climbing on me and stabbing me. And
I don't think they were able to do anything. I think they were trying to.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
They kept trying to, and it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, it was very much a panic, like they were backing up, trying to get away, and being like, "Stop, please stop."
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, multiple factions to be interacted with. I got off track. I'm so sorry. So we have a notable moment from you was getting to work with the Lost Sons.
Yeah, I'd say a notable moment for us was getting to work with the Lost Sons, and also, just in general, the fabrication of one of the first town defenses.
The only town defenses.
The only town defenses.
We need them.
Feel like you guys have the same notable moment, but Pickles, what's the notable moment from your group in recent episodes?
Am I allowed to talk about my experience with the troll?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This might be spoilers since it was like the most recent episode, but I mean, it's just to make it short. We fought and killed a troll named Gorthok the Unyielding, and Yeah, he had a bigger weapon than I did, but he seemed aggressive, and I didn't want him going off killing people, so I fought him. I was losing, frankly. Like, I was inflicting a few, damage levels, but I knew my luck was running out. He
Yeah.
had better rolls than me overall. He should have beaten
I
me,
think it was a pretty
but
fair
then
fight,
Torvekka
honestly.
came in.
That's
What's
why
up?
when you got to talk to him, I think it was a pretty fair fight. So even when you came to talk to him, he said you were a valiant opponent. Like, we had a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
It was when Torvekka came in that he got it wasn't fair anymore.
Stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Torvekka is a beast with that battle axe. I would not want to fight him myself. I think he could take Grunkle on.
Dude, his double exploding damage die in the last episode was insane. He did 30 damage.
Great.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
But so we killed this troll. I took his sword because I'm not going to let it go to waste. I did a fumbled prayer over his body, and it disappeared into smoke. I think I might have done the prayer after that.
It erupted in fire.
Yeah, erupted in fire. It was a bad time for him. Grunkle felt bad. Torvi was happy. But so it was nice to have the intro of the last session be me clutching these pictures drawn of him sitting on that throne, going into the ruins and finding a ghostly version of him there.
That's
that
right.
I could then.
Grunkle found pictures drawn by childish drawings.
I'm thinking Isabella because she draws pictures.
You've had some recent dealings with Isabella. Your party has, but yeah, continue. So you had the drawings. You go into the keep.
It was very nice. I enjoyed the scene where I was able to apologize for my shortcomings as a Grunkle ogre berserker, and be like, I didn't mean for you to die. I just wanted to stop you from.
He apologized too.
Whatever.
He said, "Hey, this isn't what I wanted either. You obviously weren't the person that I was even here for. You know."
And now I have a ghost empowering my claymore that made it so even though injuries are absolute bullshit and I accept it, but I can still call it bullshit, hate it so much.
But you get to inflict injuries as well.
I do, in theory. I just generally kill them first.
It's also true.
or I lightly slash their arm. But it was nice. I got a what is it? It's not special. The injury. I got an injury that would normally ruin my weapon, and it just glanced off and maybe dimmed for a second, I think you said, or
yeah, it pulsed or something. But basically, Gorthok of the Unyielding is now the name of his sword because his sword glows blue and has Gorthok the Unyielding empowering it. So your sword will not yield.
Does it whisper?
And it would have really sucked if I just got this two-handed weapon. I'm
It
I'm
was
finally
immediately
able
ruined.
to buy this talent that only works if I have a two-handed weapon. Broken.
Yeah, it was interesting how fast that came up, and I was like, "Well, your sword's not ruined, by the way." He was like, "Oh, cool." It's got it and immediately realized what it does, and it's like, "Oh, sick."
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not looking good for Grunkle now. A great happy start to a tragic end.
Yeah, we had so we'll talk about that, but okay, so big notable moments from you guys. What do you guys think are the biggest or have there been character growth moment for your character? Has there been a defining moment that you feel has really affected your character in a way, maybe something that has changed your view on things, or you feel really helped your character progress or something, if anything? If not, we can move on to the next point. Picking up salmon with my bare hand for some
have
reason.
One. You animal.
Fingering my food over here. Continue.
Let's see. I mean, most of the stuff that's come from Adarag has been mostly learning points of a little bit of also Adaece learning the system, that I'm not as powerful as I sometimes think I am, but which makes sense in this setting and in this world that Rath's built, because we're not supposed to be these almighty heroes. We're still building that name, so it makes sense that I'm not going to be good at everything. So there's been a little bit of recognition in that too on the side of Adarag with like he's going great. He's doing a really good job of doing like what he knows, his sailing, and then he goes to read something and he can't read. And it's a point of like he just falls just a little bit just a little bit short of making the like excellency mark, so to speak. So I think that's been kind of a point that Adarag has been trying to come to terms with for a while. And although I know that, I mean, with this getting an education and possibly doing some training with the Lost Sons, that might help him in the long run overcome some of these things.
Grunkle?
I would have said, well, I still will say, getting the flower crown from Granny Evelyn.
Really?
That was probably the turning point for Grunkle, where it's like, he was considering stopping this town for the adventure and sake of it, but I imagine he's been wandering, and this was just like a stop towards somewhere more lucrative. And that was the moment probably that he was like, no, Grunkle in it for long haul.
Because recently she noted, hey, your flower crown's like just falling apart and deteriorating.
I wasn't trained in that.
Yeah. So that's maybe alluding to, hey, you're gonna get like, because you referenced it as you're becoming a knight.
Oh yeah, Grunkle is
like,
delusional.
Yeah, you're like Grunkle, wants like, oh yeah, feeling knight of flowers or something, and
yeah, well, that would be perfect for him because that's what a terrible bad berserker would want.
So as the DM, I'm going to tell you this is my way of alluding to, hey, you guys are going to need to take time to take care of your items. You're in a swamp. You're in, you guys haven't sharpened your weapons. You guys haven't, worked on your armor. You haven't cleaned your clothes.
Do I have armor?
I don't know if it's on your character sheet.
I don't think I have any armor.
Dorvekic has armor.
Yeah, Dorvekic has armor. That's why he kicks ass. I'm running around naked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still have like your red cloak and stuff that is...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, when was the last time you sharpened your weapons? This is my way of being like, hey, your stuff will deteriorate over time and needs to be managed and taken care of. And being like, hey, your weapon's broken because you never took care of it. It's like, hey, your flower crown's falling apart. You need to take care of it. And then maybe it'll be like, oh, hey, maybe I should take care of the rest of my stuff too before Rath breaks it.
My favorite item, and you're taking it away first. No, that makes sense. I think that Grunkle probably doesn't have a whetstone since he was giving a toy sword and a spear. That's what ogres would call it. Not that it isn't actually a good weapon. Don't take my mortuary sword, please.
Mm-hmm.
It does deserve to be sharpened.
There's other people with swords in town. How do they keep their sharp?
I don't know. They're not as responsible as Grunkle feels right now. And like we have monsters attacking. Grunkle is just trying his darndest.
They've been sick in bed. They just got up.
But we're under. I can't talk to them about sharpening my sword when we're under attack.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's like everything. Do you know how pissed Fred would be if it was like, Grunkle ready to charge in and learn how to take care of my equipment? And I just turn around and walk back in, and Shifty'd be like, wait, why are you taking the back? You don't have any ranged weapons. I'm gonna go add some range to my mind.
Yeah, so all in
that is a good point going forward.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make light of it.
Major plot twists and revelations throughout the campaign. What is your favorite, if there are any, plot twist or revelation that's come to light for your group, your party?
When we found out that Liliana was turned into a serpent.
That was my favorite plot twist too.
Wait, what?
So in our first interaction with the lurkers is what you called them?
Dwellers is what
Dwellers.
I've named them.
the dweller. So in Nimward's first interaction with the dwellers, he goes down there. He sees Liliana's like bloody, torn clothes, and his first and he sees one of these dwellers coming towards him, and his first reaction is to scream out, "Liliana, stop!" And it stopped. And not Adarag, but Adaece over here is like putting like red string onto a board and figuring out, okay, we know exactly now what's happening. Adaece was fully thinking that this was actually Liliana, and what had happened was something about getting bitten by something caused her to turn into this dweller, and this dweller was actually partially like the sea serpent that attacked our boat in the last episode.
Yeah, they're like connecting all these dots. I'm over here going, what? He's like, Liliana, stop. And we got to the end of the episode, and I was like, I gotta know, why do you call it Liliana? He's like, well, I thought maybe it's the same. And I was like, okay. Interesting.
And I was fully on board. I thought, yes, he got it.
I saw Adaece freaking out, and I was like, even he's just as confused as me. But no, he was thinking the same thing, and I'm over here confused.
I was on the same page.
It was quite the plot twist for me, going, "That's Liliana." What? It was a whole thing. It was funny. Okay, yep. That was pretty good.
That was a good one for me.
Kind of plot twist.
No. In actuality, though, the Atlas plot twist was certainly one of my favorites.
The Atlas plot twist was probably my favorite, which is also one of my biggest regrets, because I feel like I didn't do well storytelling it. I think that was my weakest moment storytelling, is because I flopped it a little bit, and I was not happy about it. But we got there in the end.
We got there.
Grunkle, your group.
Well, I'm going to make my entire group look bad, because for me, I guess, the least observant person of the group, the corruption's coming from the mountain, and that's what's getting us sick.
That was funny.
It was exactly like at the end of every Saw movie where they're like playing the violin song, and it's like you're piecing together, oh wait, but then if I didn't do that, then the army's at the front door, and John's in the basement.
That's like that movie, The Mist, like, I think it is, where he drives his family and they break down. They're in the middle of the mist, and they're like, "Oh my god, we're fucked." So he shoots all his family members, and then he couldn't shoot himself, and he's sitting there, and then the army rolls in.
The mist clears, army rolls in.
Yeah, they're all saved, and he's just sitting there like, yeah. Yeah. So basically, I've been dropping all these hints, dropping all these clues as to what the larger plot is and what's going on at hand. And Pickles and I were kind of talking about it, I think, in Discord. And I was like, yeah, you guys know this. And Pickles goes, what? I was like, yeah, you guys know that the chaos is coming from the mountain. It's like this corruption that's been seeping down into town. It's getting everybody sick. And Pickles is like, we don't know that at all. So then I asked the Discord, I was like, wait, that's a huge like plot point. You guys don't know that? And everyone's like, yeah, no, we all know that. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's just Pickles.
I'm looking at my billboard, and it's like, or my cork board, I should say, and it's like the red strings aren't attached. All these things are on there, but I don't have evidence.
All the red strings are just dangling.
I don't have any evidence that these are all connected. The plague could be from anything. We live in a swamp.
Yeah, it is the swamp. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, wackier things have happened. It could be its own thing, and then I want to solve it from its own thing.
Because someone found out this area wasn't a swamp before, but corruption coming from the mountain has turned this whole area into a swamp.
Yeah, you just grabbed all those red strings and just twisted and made it all like connect. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that.
That's a pretty good, yeah, that's a pretty good plot twist. Pretty good revelation.
It was great for me. I was like, oh no, this all makes sense now.
It all went so wrong.
And I was acting a fool. Brick by brick.
Let's discuss, I've got a big one that I want to discuss, but before we do that, let's talk relationships, NPCs or player characters. Maybe what are maybe like top 3 like relationships you built. It could be between player characters. I would say like a big one would be like the Grunkle Torvekik, but Grunkle and Wilfer recently had an episode where they kind of bonded a little. So I'm curious, like biggest relationship building that you've seen over the campaign that you're a fan of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that Adarag is not going to get anywhere near Kylie.
Yes, Adarag's recent love interest, very short-lived.
Very short-lived. Very, very short-lived. But I think for Adarag specifically, he like the biggest one over time is probably, I guess 1 and 2 would be Frankie and Hopkins. Over time, Adarag's kind of gotten to know them a bit better, and like he wanted to specifically like go and make sure that they were taken care of with the moss, and ended up waking up in a chair with a little blanket tucked up over him.
Yep, you were tended to, just like you guys tended for them.
Yeah,
yeah, you guys had a whole little quest with them too, so that was a good bonding moment for sure.
Yeah.
You encouraged Frankie to get a super epic, awesome spear throw that you did not want him to do.
Yes.
He was very proud of that. What about Grunkle's group?
Well, I mean, yeah, I like Grunkle's interactions with Torvekik, and Wilfer did say he actually trusts us, which felt like a great step in our relationship as a group to have the illegal wizard, or illegal lizard, if you prefer.
That was a big moment that I saw. Not really a relationship thing, kind of going back, was Wilfer just came clean to Torvekik, Bjorn, Granny Evelyn, like, yeah, yep. I'm an illegal wizard. I'm wanted. I've killed people. They're
I
like,
do chaos magic.
Yeah,
he said,
like,
I do chaos magic to them.
What?
Yeah. Well, no, I think he said something like, I know a number of chaos magic spells or something.
I think what it was is the heat of battle in like death is outside the door. So at that moment, he's like, I don't really care. Like, I'm going to die. So we're all going to die. So I might as well just say it doesn't matter.
And Grunkle is 1 step away from dead.
Yeah. So relationship. What were you saying? Sorry. Oh, with Wilfer?
Yeah, but otherwise, like, I mean, your comrades are who you're hanging out with the most. I enjoyed Alexius for the time, but I'd say Granny Evelyn's been the most recent. Like, Grunkle has the flower crown. He's helping her and Bjorn by extension. So Bjorn's kind of a package deal. He's like the expansion pack of we're helping out these apothecaries, healers, and that feels like good.
She's just a gardener.
Yeah, it feels like
everyone keeps putting more onto her, and she's like, I just garden.
Yes, but she's hanging out with Bjorn, so that doesn't make her that
it's
bad.
Like Bjorn's the important one, but they're going to Granny. They're like, Granny, you know how to do all this. She's like, no.
Him.
Yeah, he's right here. This guy.
Well, I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm just saying I felt like really it was nice to have Grunkle do that as the flower knight, or knight of flowers, if you prefer. She seemed like the one who knighted him, so he's looking to help her and save this town. She's old, therefore, in Grunkle's eyes, as an ogre, Grunkle's young, and he doesn't have much time left, so he's got to quest hard.
All right. Okay. We're halfway through. Let's get to the big meat and potatoes of it. So yeah, we haven't gotten to the big meat and potatoes of what you guys are getting into, but this is where you get to hear about what you guys are about to get into. So at this point in time, as we are, a battle has erupted. An all-out assault on Arwen's Rest has erupted, and basically where you guys are going to come in is this initial attack happens, and this wave happens, and then you guys kind of get to react. You probably like hunker down, prepare, and then move out and react. So at this point, Grunkle's group has reacted. They got the initial reaction as it happened. You guys are reacting just after the initial attack is basically the way it's going to happen. Probably like, boom, the Lawsons hunker around. They're like, okay, everyone stay safe. And then okay, everyone's regrouped, we're moving. That's basically kind of the way I'm gonna handle it. So at this point, we can discuss first what Pickles group has experienced, and then we can discuss what fourth group's thoughts on that are, and what your strategy is and plans are for both of you guys going forward into your next episodes. So, Pickles, if you will.
Yes. So Grunkle had or was being the watchman at the front door of Hobbs Lodge, and that's when I noticed that there is purple fog coming in. We saw that at the Grove a while back that Torvekik defiled, and he's not here to defend himself, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't fully his fault, hallucination. We were doing drugs at the time, but that was early in the campaign. Anyways,
we were young.
Yeah. So I noticed that there was something afoot, and so Grunkle went out first. Torvekik came second, and Wilfer followed third. They were both in there talking with Granny Evelyn and Bjorn. I forget what they were talking about, but there's various planning stuff, and Grunkle was done with it. He was like, more action, less thinkies. Let's aim our weapons, not our minds. So he was out there, and we got attacked by a bunch of twig blights. Like a swarm of twig blights, as well as a needle blight. Don't know how much you want me to cut out here, but it didn't go terribly well for us, I'm going to say. Grunkle did a charge attack, which is my best ability. As a berserker, it's like one of my abilities is that I charge, I get a plus 20% accuracy. So it's foolish of me to never not charge when I have the opportunity, but it is also always foolish if you don't have like 5 more ogres behind you. I'm a shock troop, so I charged in, got overwhelmed quickly, but the twig blights had a hard time with me. Needle blight slammed hard, gave me an injury, tore my shoulder off. That's okay. I'm kidding. It's just torn shoulder.
So fun fact, the needle blight is a specialized troop that is basically more of a ranged attacker. Got really lucky. I think it got a crit success on you. And got really lucky.
It did. Yeah. And I asked, is this like Mithras where I can ask to use a Benny to...
No. So this thing is basically really weak. You guys, I think, almost killed it in like one hit.
Yeah, that was Torvekik.
Yeah, it's a weak ranged attacker. You ran up to it, and I was just like, well, shit, it's special. Just got cut out. I was like, its thing was gonna like ranged attack you, and it never even got a chance. So your charge wasn't entirely like...
Just don't give Rath any of those fortune points. That's the only reason this guy did damage is because we gave you a fortune point and you were like, I think I egged you on actually, which is
the misfortune points helped me out a lot. I was able to actually do a lot with that, which I started to realize those are actually kind of dangerous in my hands.
yeah. In combat.
Yeah, they helped you guys. Yeah, in combat because. And you guys didn't have any NPCs there to help you. You guys told them all to stay back. You didn't have anyone else out there helping you, so I couldn't use any points with them.
Well, they're sick.
Are they?
Ish. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and I was out of the room. I didn't make those
Someone
decisions.
surrounded the entire place with warding moss that's taking all the chaos away, the corruption away.
I'm just a silly ogre, and I was out. I was being the watchman.
So they saw Hunt Captain Kyler and Griff came up from down below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing better. But they were pale, so that's why I thought,
They haven't seen the sun in like a week.
Yeah.
They've been in the basement.
Yeah, they've been living in sick infested gunk land.
Sick, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, so then let's not spend the whole time recapping. What's the current situation?
Attacked. We struggled with this. We had an archer. We had Torvekik, myself with my sword missing, and we managed to.
Well, your archer did work. Your archer, immediately fucked up that needle blight. Like it took an arrow in the head.
Oh yeah. Like, that was a lucky arrow that pierced out my eye.
And then Torvekik ran in and killed, I think, 10 blights. Just
yeah. The swarm is not to be trusted. Even for Grunkle, they just started swarming all over me. They failed one thing, but they were stabbing me. I got lightly wounded.
Yeah, their big thing that I was trying to do was do like more dirty tricks and stuff. The problem was is that the first dirty trick I chose that they were gonna like be really good at or like try was throwing mud in people's faces and like blinding them. Except it's based, I believe, on your fellowship, which they have a 0 fellowship, so it's a 1% chance for them to succeed at this. And I was like, damn it! But now it's canon, and they just kept trying to throw mud in people's faces, and it was the dumbest thing. But the second thing was that they were trying to take you guys down, make you prone. And that's where it would become a problem.
They can't take Grunkle down on that.
No, they didn't get either of you guys. They tried to take Torvekik down too, and he wouldn't let them.
They just cut my fat, flabby flesh. Anyways, so we dealt with that situation. Torvekik mostly. Me, I just like charged in and confused everybody. And which was probably good to take the ranged guy off of like, shit, there's an ogre.
Yeah,
I can't target them.
He ran away. Actually, to be fair, you guys don't know this. He ran away and died. He bled, or he died. he didn't make it.
He was pretty fucked up. That's why I was like, yeah, you do your thing, bro. But yeah, so Grunkle took enough damage from the torn shoulder to go into warp spasm.
Torn shoulder, but then got tincture, so. Injury,
I was going to get to that. Yeah. So I have my warp spasm on where I do fury damage, and according to my own canon, not what it says, is that I also am prone to eating human people if I defeat them in combat. Grumple is what I call him at that point. Like he's grumpy. I'm like, you fought with me. Anyways, yeah. So. And I ran in, so I stepped back and I charge into. I didn't eat Isabella. She's not a worthy combatant. You eat like, it's more like an honor thing. Like if you're a good warrior and I get to that moment, then I'll eat your body and absorb your power. That kind of thing. It's not weird. It's not weird. It's an ogre thing. You wouldn't understand. You're a halfling. Charge into the mist. Ready, full of maybe a little bit of cannibalism, and there's a swamp dragon in front of me, and I'm like, whoop, 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 whoop,
that was hilarious.
Let's stop on the roar. Let's stop yelling and screaming.
That was hilarious. On my screen, I'm moving the enemies around in like the mist, and they don't know where they are. So I'm asking Grunkle specifically, where do you run? And he's like, like there. And I was like, no, I need to know where you run. And he's like, right here. Run straight into the swamp dragon.
Right into his face. That's how you know I'm not watching the stream while playing.
That's true.
Because I make stupid things like that.
So he runs into the mist, and he's like, oh!
Wait.
But it gets even sillier than that. Like, I'm smart enough to be like, okay, yeah, Grunkle has hesitation because he is a cowardly berserker. That's canon for why he's a failed berserker. So he backs off, his blood pumping and him like going more animalistic, like preservation at that point. And he's not suicidal, and that's why he's a bad berserker. But then Torvekik is like, oh, I see Grunkle backing away from something and pulsing. Let's just yeah. And I'm like, it's not he doesn't do a Texas.
He doesn't. Yeah.
But that'd be funny if he was a
Torvekik runs in too, Grunkle runs out, and then Torvekik runs out. They both ran in, turned around and ran away. So then they both left the dragon in the mist, so he keeps moving. I wanted to talk about that though, so as we're on this point, you know a couple things about this dragon, so we're going to get into strategies going forward. You know the dragon is blind currently, or at least maybe partially blind. You know that it hunts using sound.
Yeah.
You're currently in a battlefield full of sounds. I kept noting there's sounds of battle off to the west. There's people screaming, da-da-da-da-da. So, maybe being quiet is a strategy that you guys have used before, and the dragon couldn't find you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then he's going to attack the Lost Sons, who we saw.
Or, you guys heard something very specific leading up to the battle. Do you remember what it was? The sound of... Adarag actually has heard this. Moving trees.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, if we could be quiet enough, then...
So I wonder if there's other sounds that this dragon might attack.
Well, I'm glad we didn't try and slay the dragon.
Or you could slay the dragon, or capture the dragon.
I don't want to kill the dragon. It's
Grunkle
a
took
gray
on
area.
Grunkle faced down the dragon and didn't die. And I was talking with Chison about this. This is what I was going to talk about before the episode. Chison was like, "So how'd it go?" Because I was talking to him, you know, kind of pitching ideas back and forth. And I told him how it went. He goes, "So he survived a dragon? I mean, it's a dragon." And I was like, "That's true. Like, you can't really be mad that you know." We didn't get to the key point there, Pickles, but it's taken 10 minutes, so I don't have time. So the dragon got an epic shot on Grunkle and basically reached out of the mist, jaw wide, and bit and just around his head, and Grunkle collapsed and went down.
I'm okay, mostly.
What?
I'm okay mostly.
Yeah, well, no. You got
Not
cerebral contusion, which basically puts you in like a coma for 13 days or something, is what it said.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
So he dropped. And in that moment, Gorthak the Unyielding stood over him and was like, "What the fuck?"
What did you do?
Yeah, you've been out here like 5 minutes.
Berserker. Never said it was.
So fun fact, and you guys don't really know this, but my characters, my NPCs, obviously, they all have fate points, and he has one fate point, and he didn't use it when you killed him. So he gave his fate point to resurrect or, you know, revive Grunkle. So Grunkle got a free little as he gasped awake from the spirit realm. So yeah. So that's where we're at with that. So the town is under attack. There are blights running around. There's fog that has encroached, but there is there's a Hobbs Lodge, a street, and a beach that has not been shrouded in fog. And
Yes.
the blights all seem to be dancing, you know, moving through the fog. They see them like there's an army of blights moving through the fog. And they haven't encroached on those locations yet. You guys have seen twig blights and needle blights, but Wilfer encountered something different. Two something different, technically. When he snuck through the blight lines in the previous episode, he noticed vine blights. These creatures like blights, but these ones were made of vines, and they had like vine-like tendrils that they were reaching out, and so there's another kind of blight that has been spotted, and you guys haven't run into them yet in the battle. However, as Wilfer took up his post of archery on top of Hobbs Lodge, he climbed up there. He turned and saw a different blight coming down the street from the north and shot it, which it then turned and stared directly at him. So now there's a new player on the field. Besides all that, Torvekik had gone underground into the catacombs and found moonlit moss. He gathered up a bunch of it as well and came up top. Wilfer told Bjorn to turn to, like, Bjorn and Hunt Captain Kyler to make it attached to his arrows so he can fire the moonlit moss into creatures or into the fog and create more, like, areas that they can control. Which I thought was a really creative idea. I was like, that's cool. We'll see if we can make that happen. That's creative. So I think that's up to our current point. So with our remaining time, I'm curious, let's talk ideas going into your next episode. So Adarag, you guys have been hunkered down. Lost Sun's taking up defensive positions, fighting off twig blights that are running out of the fog, trying to get to you guys. And we'll go into your guys' now reaction going into it. Grunkle, you know where you're at. You're waking up in the mud as things are fighting and running over you, and you know Torvik's probably fighting. Wilfer's up there shooting. What are your guys' tactics, strategies, ideas going forward?
So, I'll tell you right off the bat, Nimwort is not going to like this. He very much likes to be prepared for everything, and this is now something encroaching on his area. But as for the Adarag and Nimwort duel,
you guys took down a blight before. You're fine.
I took down a blight, a singular blight. But
Grunkle, I think the minimum you guys ran into in a group was 5. You're not there.
No.
Oh. What?
It's more like
I think there was a group of 5, a group of 8, and a group of 10 that came at you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So they did have differing sizes, but yeah, we had one that was pretty big.
Yeah.
This is bad times even for those of us trained in this. Grunkle went to school for this, and he's having a bad time.
Meanwhile, Adarag is, I got my stiletto. That's it. Oh well, and a slingshot.
Yeah, and
a flintlock that he doesn't know how to use.
Fucking pistol.
What?
Now, see, the flintlock
Adarag's
though,
walking around with a pistol. To be fair, Grunkle's walking around with a magic sword, so.
Yeah, but I know how to use a magic sword.
Yeah, true. I am not trained in
it.
the martial weapons, which I need to get martial ranged. Somehow. Yeah.
Is that how it works for you?
What are your guys' thoughts going into your upcoming episodes?
So coming up, I think Nimwort and I are going to heavily rely on the Lost Sons as a forward unit, as much as we can. Now we'd probably take up positions. Adarag would probably stick with Wilhelm and Kylie, and try to maybe even pick up on do some on the job training with them of how to use his ranged weapons.
That is a plus side. You guys took a lot of capable fighters with you to do this quest, whereas more of the administration people stayed back at the camp.
Yeah, so definitely Adarag's probably going to be following Wilhelm and Kylie around, trying to maybe pick up on some things for ranged combat. Nimwort, I'm not sure what he would do, but if given the opportunity, he's probably going to try to invent something on the spot to make I mean, I'm just guessing here, but his analytical sense is probably going to come in and say, oh, the fog doesn't go inside of our barriers. Let's find a way to expand our barriers, or something like that.
And at this point, basically, the way this works is you guys are in combat. Grunkle is mid-fight, before he goes down, because he goes down right at the end of the episode. He's yelling, Adarag and the Lost Sons and Nimwort are right over there, just across town square. They're fighting, so you're probably just yelling, "Are you okay? Yeah, we've got Moonlit Moss inside." So that way you're aware of kind of what we've shared here. You can be Bjorn and Granny Evelyn inside. And Grunkle, that Bjorn was frantically working on something. What was he working on? Besides Moonlit Moss arrows, that's more Kyler.
He's working on a potion of some kind, wasn't he?
And he already had 2 sitting off to the side, if you remember.
Yeah.
I wonder who could use 2 potions.
2 little guys.
Yeah, it's probably not a cure wounds for Grunkle, but Grunkle has just to answer your question really quickly. Grunkle has 2 options, I think, going forward: heroism or martyrdom. It's on his character sheet. I think Grunkle, pragmatically, at this point, on the heroism scale, would say, if I'm going to be of use, I need to go to Bjorn and Granny Evelyn to see if there's anything they can do to fix my injuries and bring me back to better health. Let me fight a little bit longer. He's doubtful if that's possible, as he's already high on tincture, which has removed his...
someone else who might be able to help.
Who?
Someone who is preparing something to help Grunkle once before, but had to use it to save Frankie?
Oh, well, yeah, one of those scales would be really, really gosh darn nice right now.
That's not what I was thinking of, but that's interesting. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you all know where Adaece was.
Well, yeah, also the brew would be nice. Numb Abyss would help. I'm at grievously wounded, so if I take one more injury, I'm dead. Anyways, that brings me to the next point, though, since time. Martyrdom. If Grunkle sees somebody in this state, as his warp spasm is active and giving me a slight increase of damage, if he saw like Isabella running across like the terrain and the swamp dragon out there being like, I'm hungry because I'm a father, then Grunkle would charge after and try and do the sacrifice. So that's basically the toss-up, I think, is the dynamic I chose at character creation. Is Grunkle going to be a pragmatic hero or a foolish martyr?
Okay. So just from a DM's perspective, before we close out, I want to give you guys the points that you know. So, you know the dragon hunts with sound. You can use that to your advantage. You know the Moonlit Moss is helping keep the corruption at bay. You guys know the blights are turned by the corruption. The corruption is part of them. Because they were originally tree folk. What else? You guys know Hobbs Lodge is a current safe spot with some capable fighters inside of it. And some potions inside. What else? You guys know there are more Lost Sons back at the camp. What else do you guys know?
Can I reiterate for a moment?
Yeah.
How much our party appreciated what your group does? Like the lanterns and everything, and the Lost Sons showing up. Those are both moments where it was like, oh no, we're screwed. We are screwed. And then the non-fighters are delivering more than the fighters are, and it's like, oh, thank God you built lanterns. Now we actually can fight. Oh, thank God you recruited 2 armies to like protect various sides. Now we can just focus on the real problems. Oops, swamp dragon.
Oops.
But you guys were like the MVP of our like session there, and that was sort of a fascinating twist. We felt your presence very, very strongly in a very beneficial way that let us play the game.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's helping.
So I'm trying to think of a way, I probably shouldn't spoil this, but I'm trying to think of a way I could even show it in game, and it wasn't really discovered. So I don't think that there would ever be a way to discover it at all. So I'm just going to tell you two, and you two will get to have that secret knowledge that you don't really know, but, you know, player knowledge. Mm-hmm. Wilfer and Isabella snuck through the Blight army, right? And barely got out. Barely got through. You guys know that they make noise there. You know, they trees, you know, moving, twigs snapping, you know, so on and so forth. When they congregated as an army outside of town, they were still building up their forces and congregating, right? They were still gathering. That's what Wilfer was noticing as he was sneaking through. They've just attacked. There's really no way I could portray this, but basically they made so much noise that the swamp dragon came. And they were like, oh shit, go. Because the swamp dragon came and started like attacking them from behind. So they're like, go, go, go. Get him in there, I guess. Like, so there's not really a way I could have you guys have found that out in game that I can think of off the top of my head. So now you guys just know that their attack kind of got pushed and they're kind of not fully organized because they got attacked from behind and they were like, okay, everyone go.
I see your logic so clearly. Yeah, that's clever. It's just it's like I've got those dots on the cork board and I couldn't connect them officially.
So as much as I was alluding to, hey, Wilfer distracted the dragon and sent it south. Arwen's Rest is south. Well, it's not the only thing that's south. So was the Blight army. And so Dragon ran into Blight army, started attacking them. They went into town. So did Dragon, following the Blight army into town.
And see, this is why we can't just send Wilfer to the Lost Sons to be executed.
Because what he did ended up paying off.
Yeah, actually,
that's something you guys would never find that out as characters that I can think of. So I was just that's something to know. He sent the dragon south. I rolled. Dragon ran into Blight army, attacked them. So now they're scattered. So they don't have the organization, because when Wilfer went through their ranks, they were very like ranked up and organized. Now they're just running around and like it's chaos because it wasn't. It was like oh shit, scatter.
Wow. Wilfer is the MVP.
Yeah, so it's not just their group that helped. Technically, Wilfer helped, he just doesn't know it.
I mean, yeah, we still greatly appreciated you, but Wilfer bringing in the battle artillery.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, the dragons, you know, it's not enemy of my enemy, it's
that guy that we know from the pub.
it's
bigger bad fighting smaller bad.
3 enemies at war with, you know, all at war at the same time. It's a free-for-all. It's not a team battle.
It's the monster hunter like territorial battle between 2 big monsters, and both of them will eventually want to kill you, but they're just hindering each other's numbers a little bit before they come back at you.
Well, it's all 3 at the same time. It's unfortunate. Like, Grunkle ran into a dragon that was chasing blights. Dragon was chasing blights. Grunkle was chasing blights. All 3 ran into each other.
And the dragon has a name because he's a human who has turned into a swamp dragon, and his name is Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's less of a... That's a question.
Grunkle was like, I don't want to fight it, but the thing wants to fight you.
Yeah, but it's a guy. I don't want to kill him. I accidentally led to a death recently. Trauma. So
I remember you guys were thinking about building a giant hole you could put all the people in. Maybe instead of putting all the people in it, you could trap something in that hole.
I don't want to kill...
You guys never dug
I didn't want to kill Gorthok.
Oh.
What? Gorthok had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
I'm talking about the defenses. I was thinking, when you guys came up with the plan to dig a hole, I was like, that's stupid. You guys were supposed to build like a moat or a wall or something. You guys were like, we're going to dig a hole. But then my DM planning, I was like, you know, when the dragon attacks, they could trap the dragon in the hole or save the people. It will be like a moral choice. And then you just never dug the hole either. I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, Grunkle is 39 intelligence.
Or you guys could...
He's going on both tracks.
Fight the dragon.
I want to save the dragon.
Okay. How do you save the dragon?
Well, Grunkle's not sure yet, but he's trying to be a hero. That's the entire basis of his character.
Not that the dragon's the main quest, but Adarag's group found out that the dragon... Well, you guys found out a lot about the dragon. But Atlas got sent back in time, was turned into a dragon and sent way back in time. And then Bjorn's group was like, the dragon's been around for so long, because he was sent back in time from them. He's like, the dragon's been around for so long. My people have been fighting with it, you know, as a territorial thing on top of the mountain for ages and ages and ages. However, when the corruption started, the dragon left. He thought the dragon left, but then learned from them that the dragon didn't make it, and the corruption got to him, just like it got to Bjorn's clan, just like it got to Dibs's clan. All these groups have told you, hey, yeah, the corruption got to us. You know, it turned us, it corrupted us, da 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 da. So, Dragon was just territorial fighting. Tried to leave, like had some wisdom, like, oh shit, corruption's taking over everything, I'm out. Tried to leave, was turned by the corruption, and is now hunting and killing everything. So maybe get rid of the corruption. Regular dragon comes back,
maybe.
And the dragon not being dead would be good.
But how do you get rid of the corruption?
You gotta go up the mountain.
We found out where the corruption's coming from, and Wilfer found out what's at the top of the mountain on accident.
Plot twist.
Oh
yeah, we didn't talk about that. Yeah, Wilfer was on top of Mount Starlight.
What?
And that's it for Under the Table. Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode. Tomorrow, we're going to be recording Adarag and Nimward's adventures in the attack on Arwen's Rest. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But anyways, that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next episode. Later.
Cheers.
I love you.